first episode ever of a new show that I'm doing called Press Check. So, what is a press check? Well, it's going to be where I watch the news impromptu and give my live reaction. There's going to be no editing, no changing, pre watching. It's all just right off the cuff. We're going to start, I'm new to this, with some Dynasty networks. We'll go through Associated Press, Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, and I'm going to give some live commentary on what I see going on with the news, and we're going to check the press. But it also has to do with something to do with the Second Amendment. So when you have a pistol such as this, you want to take it, pull it out, open up the chamber, make sure nothing's in it, or in some cases you do have something in it, and you know if it's loaded, right? Whether the gun is safe or hot. Well, it's the same with the press. Are we safe from the government or are we safe from the press? And that's what we're going to discuss, and that's what I'm going to start doing on this show. So I really appreciate you coming out, and bear with me. I was trying to think of mechanisms of how to make this show work, and I said, you know what? In the words of Bill O'Reilly, we'll do it live! So that's what we're doing. I'm just going to wing it. So, with no further ado, let's bring up some news. Oh, and one other thing. If things seem a little laggy or weird, it's because my computer is a piece of shit. And my goal is to come out with this show, and as we speak, I have my new laptop coming in the mail, and it's going to dramatically be a much more improved platform for this show. But I didn't want to wait anymore to do the show, and so we're doing the show. So, anyway. By the way, I was in the military, so I do have an interesting sense of humor. So starting out here, we got Associated Press, and the thing I want to say about Associated Press that I've noticed over the years is that Associated Press is where all the other networks, especially the ones who are anti-conservatism, get their talking points. So Associated Press are sort of Scottie Pippen, and then they go slam dunk them. I wouldn't really call some of these networks Michael Jordan, I mean, they're practically staying in business, but that you get the drift. So let's start with this one. So it says, Trump warns Walmart, don't raise prices due to my tariffs, but do eat the cost from those taxes. So let's see what it says. I don't know if Associated Press will have video, which is really what I wanted to comment on. But in the event that they don't have video, we'll just go through real quick. We'll scroll. I don't want to get hit with some fair use crap. Ironically, I just said they get all their talking points from Associated Press, and then they regurgitate it. And Associated Press probably takes its marching orders from the left, but okay, we already went over that. That's a Walmart. And there's nothing in video to really commentate on. So, alright, so with Associated Press, what we're going to do is we're just going to go through their talking points as my computer lags. So while we're waiting, I'll talk about this. So this is my custom Glock 19. I undercut the trigger right here so it doesn't give you the famous Glock knuckle. I have an Olight flashlight and a Holosun 407 red dot. On the back here, on the strap, you're going to see what they call a force grip, or what it does is it keeps your finger from getting bit by the slide. So it's a nice little piece. I like to be really high on it. My hands are sort of big, hence why I like wide Glocks. But anyway, it seems like my computer wants to cooperate, so we're going to continue. Maybe it wants to cooperate. So far, it's making me a liar. Okay, here we go. And let's start scrolling. Like I said, this computer is getting old. Alright, Israel launches new military operation in Gaza. Netanyahu tells negotiation team to stay at talks. So, I might be puffing into my microphone a little. So with this, the first story is Walmart. Second story is Israel. My computer's going to jump. Let's see what else they talk about. Ooh, most watched videos. And my computer opened something. It's almost like it knows. Arab leaders promise to work on reconstruction of Gaza and press for a ceasefire. Of course they do. They hate Israel. I mean, that's nothing new. Israel's reckless and aggressive policy in Palestine and Syria. Of course, it's not reckless to be blown up Tel Aviv since I was a child. It's reckless for Israel to fight back. Absolutely bonkers. You know, I hope I don't have neighbors like Gaza next door who are going to do those kinds of things to me and in the world tell me I have to sit there and take it, because that's a bunch of BS, and I think you can tell. Well, there's that. Let's see what they say.
إن سياسة إسرائيل المتهورة والعدوانية في فلسطين وفي سوريا ولبنان سوف تدخل المنطقة كلها في حلقات لا تنتهي من المواجهة، فهي سياسة تهدف إلى تصعيد التوترات على كل الجبهات وتعطي لإسرائيل حقا.
They basically want Israel to take it. I get it.
والغرض هو التوسع تحت ذريعة.
Yeah. And Israel said, no, we're not going to take it. Sounds like it's pouring outside. Alright, so let's keep scrolling. Most watched videos. Watch protesters removed during RFK Senate testimony. You know, this is the freaking most ironic thing, and the left absolutely hate RFK. And John F. Kennedy, who's his uncle, is considered one of the most cherished Democrats, you know, of Democrat history. You got like Roosevelt, Kennedy, Clinton, and Obama. Biden's not even, you know, a sentient human being anymore, so we're not even going to. But, I mean, I don't think the left ever liked Biden that much. I just think they hate Trump. So, but anyway, you can see there's old Robert Kennedy right there. Make America healthy again. But the irony to me is that he is definitely a Democrat. He definitely leans liberal. But he happens to agree with some things with Trump on the food that we're ingesting in the United States of America. And because he was willing to cross the aisle and speak to Trump, just speak to him, he's considered the devil. And I just think that it's the most hypocritical, ridiculous crap of all time. Bobby Kennedy was brilliant, and that's his son. And this man has watched what's quite possible. I'm not saying it's true, but it's certainly plausible that the U.S. government had a hand in killing him via what I would call the CIA and maybe the FBI. I know J. Edgar Hoover is no big fan of Kennedy, but none of this makes sense. The fact that they're going to go crazy because RFK did something. Let's see. Nobody cares about celebrities anymore. They're B-listers. Weekend reads. Funds for migrants sent back home help fuel some towns' economies. A GOP plan targets that. Alright, so AP doesn't do a whole lot with video, which I suspected. But let's see, what's some other videos we could watch? Yeah, let's watch this idiot. Let's just see what somebody who would have loved RFK at one time is doing. They loved RFK, I'm talking like within 2 years ago. Come on, you can do it, computer. I got faith.
Now we can selectively eliminate cancer-causing...
Let's mute that until I can skip it. Not interested. Not even a little. If my channel gets funded, then I will love to. Here we go. I would love to get the YouTube video ads out, but
The witness will suspend. The committee will come to order. Capitol Police are asked to remove the individuals from the hearing room. Members
is
of the audience
Liberal Playbook
are
101 right
reminded
here, folks.
disruptions will not be tolerated.
They can never just shut up and listen through the whole thing and listen to what
Members
anyone
of the audience are
they disagree with think. It's typical. All right. So, what else do we got? Oregon man tried, tired of corporate career sales across the Pacific boring. Bronze statue of the U.S. First Lady Melania Trump disappears in her hometown of Slovenia. More hatred, because that woman's done a lot to people. Thai police seize 2 smuggled baby orangutans. Yeah, boring. Putin teases Malaysia's Anwar. Boring. Okay, so AP's out. Moving on. Let's go to our beloved MSNBC, and while that loads, we will discuss the Glock some more. Oop, it might be cooperating a little better, a little less heavy. Okay. FBI Palm Springs car explosion was an intentional act of terrorism. Let's check that out.
This morning at approximately 11 a.m. local time, our police and fire partners responded to an explosion at the 1300 block of North Indian Canyon Drive in Palm Springs, just behind us, a couple hundred feet. In addition to the FBI, Palm Springs PD, the Palm Springs Fire Department, and other agencies, including the ATF, Riverside County Sheriff's Department, Desert Hot Springs Police Department, Cathedral City Police Department, as well as the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, all responded to this incident. The FBI, which has an office
Probably the
nearby,
biggest story
responded
of the day.
with approximately 6 agents initially. Currently, one person who was near the vehicle is deceased.
Said American
and at least 4
Reproductive.
people are injured.
Is this an abortion clinic?
I'd like to offer our best wishes to those injured and hopefully for a quick recovery. After my remarks, Chief Mills will provide a status on the injuries.
Alright, we're not going to watch a long-ass video about this.
Incident. I urge them to call 1-800-CALL.
So I'd say this is going to be a big story, and the reason I say that is it's a story that you can spin. Rahm Emanuel said you never let a crisis go to waste. So, so if this was an abortion clinic, which I have to find out more about, then it's going to be a way to go after these. Oh my God, it's a right-wing conspiracy, which nobody in my circles thinks that doing something like this would be an intelligent thing to do, but nonetheless, that's how they'll spin it. If this was not an abortion clinic and this was from some crazy lefty, then the story will die. That's just my prediction. We'll see. Let's see if there's anything else interesting going on in this press conference.
There are blocks of debris, and it'll take a meticulous effort to make sure that we get every piece of evidence.
Who did it?
Everything we can to make sure we understand the why as well as what happened. Finally, for me, terrorism came knocking on the
They're
door
calling
of
it
Palm
terrorism.
Springs.
So that tells me this came from the right, because if it was something like logical, if they said somebody with a Middle Eastern name blew up a joint and shot everybody, then they would say that they're still trying to look for a motive and blah blah blah, even though they're like just came from a country that blows us up. So that tells me they believe this is from somebody on the right, and I will say I do not condone terrorism in any aspect ever, so don't come at me with that crap. It's the point of how they report the news.
Impacted by structural collapse. Our
And this is in
firefighters extinguished the
California,
majority of the
so
fire before having to
we know
back
how they
out
lean.
because of the collapse issues. We're working closely with our public safety partners to ensure the community remains safe, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. This is still under investigation, and I can't.
I want to know where this person's from. He just answered you. Alright, this is too early to see what's going on, but interesting. Trump White House accidentally admitted the truth about his tax plan. Because everything Trump does is by accident, even though he keeps beating him at most things. I mean, even my most leftist people are up in arms because he keeps winning. And there's nothing people can do to stop Teflon Don. And whenever something comes out like this, they're like, it was an accident because he's incompetent. And then he beats him. And they're like, oh, he beat us by accident. You know, it's so stupid. Maybe he's actually beating you on purpose. Maybe this got out because he wanted it out. I doubt it's an accident. Good lumber store. All right.
From the Budget Committee, Pennsylvania Democrat Brendan Boyle. Congressman, thank you for joining us. I was privy to hearing you vote no, not unexpectedly, on this bill. But does this vote give Democrats any more leverage and any more influence
No, they have
over
no
the
leverage.
legislation going forward?
They don't control
Good to
anything.
be with you on, I think, a pretty dramatic day. We started at 9 a.m. and from the very outset of the hearing, Budget Committee
Just for full
Democrats
disclosure, if
made
you
it
never
quite clear
noticed,
that we were in
MSNBC
total unified opposition
cannot
to this,
stand Donald Trump
monstrosity,
to
the big, beautiful bill for
a
billionaires.
sickness level, so
the reality is
they're
that
never going to be able to
our
report
united
balanced.
Opposition today meant that Republicans had to get almost 100% of their members to vote yes in order for this to advance. So I'm proud of our performance and what we've been able to do so far in blocking
Some
this.
performance.
The next
See, the
step, though,
difference
I think
between
that,
Democrats
we have to be on
and
guard, and here's why. It was
well, let's hear what he says.
hardliners on the Budget Committee, really extreme conservatives who are holding out. They're
Right,
not satisfied
which is my
that
point.
only from their perspective, 13.5 million Americans will
This
lose
has
their
nothing to
health
do with the
coverage.
headline either.
They actually want deeper cuts to Medicaid and deeper cuts.
So this is the difference of Democrats and Republicans. Republicans do not walk lockstep with each other, or especially conservatives. They actually think and do what they're going to do on, you know, whatever agenda they're on individually. Democrats, though, which I give them credit for politically, no matter what, always circle the wagons and rally the troops. They can always get on board 100% on votes, especially if it's sticking up conservatives' ass. So you're actually seeing, in my opinion, democracy. So the representatives and the people from all these different portions of our vast country are not agreeing, who are in power, and they're negotiating how they're going to do this budget. And because they're negotiating it, instead of all coalescing around something, and as Nancy Pelosi would say, we're going to have to pass it to see what's in it, they're actually going to pass it, and you're going to know before it's passed what's in it. So I think that's a little more transparent, but maybe I'm crazy. Let's see. Georgia hospital keeps brain dead pregnant woman alive due to abortion ban. Oh, here we go. Well, in some ways, if she's brain dead and she's not going to make it, wouldn't it be good to keep the baby? Like, and is she consciously aborting this baby? I don't even know what's going on with this. Let's find out.
Pregnant when she started
She
having
looks
bad
proud there.
headaches in February.
Enough to know that something was wrong.
April Newkirk says her daughter went to Northside Hospital for help.
They gave her some medication, but they didn't do any tests. They didn't do any CT scans. If they did, they would have.
That's
The
Republicans'
next
fault.
morning, Adriana's boyfriend noticed something was terribly wrong.
She was gasping for air in her sleep, gargling. more than likely it was blood. She was taken to Emory, Decatur, and then she was transferred here.
To Emory University Hospital, where Adriana worked as an RN. Unfortunately, there was nothing doctors could do.
They did a CT scan and she had blood clots all in her head. So they had asked me if they could do
I'm
a
not seeing the
procedure to
connection of
remove
where
it,
she
and I said
wanted
yes.
this
And then they called
abortion
me
and
back
chose
and they said
this,
that they couldn't do it.
and how this
Doctors
has to do with
declared
anything.
Adriana brain dead.
So I feel as if somebody dropped the ball at the hospitals and her boyfriend asked.
Do you see how they
please
stretch
keep her.
this stuff?
If she was kept at the hospital, we wouldn't be here.
Because of Georgia's heartbeat bill, which bans abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, her family says they weren't given any say in what happens next.
It's torture for me. I come here and I see my daughter breathing.
But you could have a grandkid. I don't understand. It's her child, and it could be
She has a
passed on.
son who I bring to see her.
Now, 21 weeks
I don't
pregnant,
get it.
her baby's health uncertain.
She's pregnant with my grandson, but my grandson may be blind, may not be able to walk.
He could be
able to
fine.
bow.
Whoa,
We don't-
this is sick. I mean, this grandmother is the one trying to abort the baby. I don't get it. This is like their really low way of digging at Georgia about the abortion ban thing, which if they want to discuss it, go ahead and discuss it. Just be intelligent about it. You don't have to grasp for straws on this stuff. This is really ridiculous. So, let's see. Ooh, ChatGPT. Even professors are turning to ChatGPT, but they're not entirely to blame. Yeah, they're freaking stupid now. I'm not even... ChatGPT is fun to play with, and I've been playing with it because I want to understand it, but I think it's going to destroy the world, which was in my earlier lead up to this first episode. But yeah, AI at large is not necessary for humanity, and it's going to do a hell of a lot more harm than good. I can promise you that. Let's see. Most watched. Trump and Putin talk about possible ceasefire in Ukraine. I'm sure this is going to be spun negatively. Let's see how MSNBC handles this one. For all of those who don't understand, that's NBC. But hence the peacock. Ew, I'm so pretty. Cardia.
Today for the first direct talks in more than 3 years. NBC's Ralph Sanchez is in Rome with the latest for us. Ralph, my friend, welcome. What can we expect from this call, and what did come out of yesterday's meeting?
So, Alex, we've been hearing from President Trump for a while now that he believes the only way we're going to get to a breakthrough and a ceasefire in the Russia-Ukraine war is if he deals directly with Russian President Vladimir Putin. He is saying now he
Yeah, well, that's arguably the second, third most powerful country on the planet, nuke talk-wise. Maybe second, easy.
And then various leaders of NATO, unclear
Like,
exactly who.
it'd be important to have
At this
talks
point,
with
we're
them,
waiting to see whether
whether
this phone call is a
Putin is
prelude
a
to some
psychopath,
kind
which
of
he is.
in-person meeting, or whether he hopes to actually
If people don't think we had
clinch a
back
deal
channel
over
talks
the
with
phone
Hitler
with
to
the
try to
Russian
end
and
World War
seal
II,
it
you're
with the
crazy. Of course we
Ukrainian
did
side
through
immediately
emissaries and
afterwards. But the
diplomats.
president is
Why would you
sounding
want
optimistic,
hundreds
as
of thousands
usual,
of people to
about
die
his ability to
needlessly
get
just to
deals
prove
over
some
the phone.
point?
I have a very good relationship with Putin. I think we'll make a deal. We have to get together, and I think we'll probably schedule.
It's almost like the left want this war to drag on.
Go and meet and everything else.
If
And with
it
that
means
being said, I
Trump
think
fails,
Trump has done an incredible job. But it's a
and
very tough
or,
job, and
you know,
it's a job that because of
it's all political. It's they just want it to go on, and hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians and Russians die.
I think Putin is tired of this whole thing.
Of course, Putin's tired of it, but he's too proud to stop now.
And he wants to look good.
He wants to go out and save some face.
Now, the president has been saying
Alright,
that
we've been
these
through this.
talks at a lower
We got
level
other
are not leading to a
things to go
breakthrough.
through.
We saw that
Alright,
earlier this
I'm bored with MSNBC. Now let's go to actually, yeah, sure, we'll do Fox next. Sorry. Like I said, this is all live, impromptu. Alright, so This is Fox. So this is top of Fox. Do you notice it does not mirror anything so far of Associated Press? Urgent rescue ensues after massive ship crashes into iconic landmark. Let's check it out. Ooh, I see Dan Bongino. That guy knew how to run a show. I'll tell you that. Took some notes from him. The guy I learned the most from the time I was a child is Rush Limbaugh. I'm a Limbaugh baby, but Rush baby. We'll get into that at a different time. Ooh. Where is this? It looks like the Eagle, which is a Coast Guard cutter that they do training on. I'm out of Connecticut, so I know that boat. It may not be. I'm just curious what boat that is. Doesn't seem like we got any video. Oh, we do. My bad. You're in trouble. I'll those bleeps. He's probably saying like, shit. Yo, check this out, motherfucker. Alright, it's boring. Shame. Let's see what that's about. Bongino unleashes scathing takedown. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I did hear about this. I haven't watched on it yet, so this is still pretty live. But I heard Comey was running his mouth. And this guy was supposed to be the next Elliot Ness. And if you don't know who Elliot Ness is, he's the one that, during Prohibition in the FBI, he did some, like, serious God's work. Taking out, Al Capone and all them types. So, this frickin' volume's jumping.
The news for all the wrong reasons, and moments ago, President Trump responded. First, the former FBI director James
That's really bright.
accused of posting an online threat against the president, and the president giving his first reaction to.
That's really brighty there, Comey. Elliot Ness would do something like that. I think I read about it. No, he didn't.
This is not the story I thought we would be covering on this Friday.
Yeah, because it's asinine.
But here's what happened last night. So Comey posted this picture on Instagram, and he wrote, "Cool shell formation on my beach walk." So the shells read 86.
This guy is a sycophant lunatic.
Get rid of. And President Trump is, of course, the
He supposedly voted Republican. He's some frickin' neocon. This guy is like spent. He's a frickin' 10-foot pile of shit.
Some people associate the number 86 with violence. Who knew, right? From a former FBI director. So last hour overseas with Brett Baer, President Trump says he ain't buying it.
Exactly what that meant. A child knows what.
Of course he knows. He's a director of the FBI. Of course he knows.
Director, and you don't know what that meant. That meant assassination, and it says it loud and clear.
Yeah. Did you notice that's not on MSNBC or Associated Press? I guess it's not a big deal if the former director of the FBI is dropping innuendos to kill the President of the United States. I mean, nothing to see here. That's not treasonous or anything. It's not seditious.
And he's calling for the assassination of the president.
Obviously, he apologized and said he didn't.
Oh, he's sorry now that he's got the message out. See, that's how they operate. Oh, I'm sorry. Even though it's world news now. I was just kidding. I don't even care what Trump thinks about it. No matter who's the president, that's an awful thing. I don't care who the president is. I would never say that about the Democrats. I would never wish that on the Democrats. I can't even imagine what would have happened if something bad happened to Biden, man. We'd be stuck with Kamala. Frickin' cackling. Getting all nervous because, like, she got asked a frickin' hard question. Like, who she's gonna anoint to be her vice president. That woman's shot. Alright, let's go back, please. Website work. Okay. We love you. What is that? Hostage freed from Hamas tells Trump, "You saved my life." Do you see how it's framed? I don't even care for. It's funny, we didn't even get to Bongino. But, whatever. I'll be here all night. This will be like the longest first episode of all time if I don't keep it rolling. So, freed hostage. Eden Alexander thanks Trump in an emotional phone call. Of course. He's alive. He's been tortured by the people that the UN are like crying for. Don't care about Hollywood. Let's see how they cover Palm Springs. I want to know who did this. And see, even though it's on the right, the difference is, like, if the person did this is, like, he's not really on the right, because a true person on the right wouldn't do this. But even if he claims he is, they're still reporting it, which is pretty important. Because it is
Make no
terrorism.
mistake, this is an intentional act of terrorism. The FBI is
They're so sure of it. Maybe, though, it's because Bongino and I can't think of his other name are at the helm. Maybe that's why they're actually on top of this. But I'm just curious who did this.
If anyone has information regarding this incident, I urge them to call 1-800-CALL-FBI.
It's a fertility clinic, not an abortion clinic. Interesting. Interesting. Who is the suspect? They're searching. Well, if they just came from Yemen or Syria or something, I don't think it's workplace violence, folks. But luckily, we don't have the Democrats in charge right now, so we don't have to listen to that from the FBI, which is relieving.
So now is it clear why they withheld this audio?
We're not getting into Tim Pool. Desert destruction. We already saw that. Bill Maher urges Americans to get over the fantasy of deeply held beliefs, core convictions. Yeah, that guy's, he's like a broken clock. He's right twice a day. He happened to be at the White House one of the times. Ayatollah's important. Not as a human being, but the stupid crap that spews out of his hateful mouth. Iran's Ayatollah Khomeini launches a tirade against America and Israel. Ooh, shocker. That kind of dovetails on what I was talking about before. But if you're in the UN, let's cling to this frickin' guy. I bet it was set on fire. I don't really care, but Pope Leo affirms traditional church teachings on marriage and family. It's about time. I've always said it's about the last pope and religion in general. I don't care if you're a Buddhist, a Muslim, a Hindu, a Christian. The whole point is to follow the faith. If you're changing the faith to follow you, you don't have faith, number one. And number two, just go make your own religion. Leave people alone. All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap that up for Fox News. Today we're just going through breaking news. Next time I'll work on a better plan on how we're going to do all this, but let's see. Okay. Trump tells Walmart to eat the tariffs. Associated Press. Duarte scores landslide win in local elections. Let's check this out. We're going to go into Walmart. U.S. President warned retailer. Yeah, we already covered that. They're literally using the same words as Associated Press. See what CNN's got to offer. CNN's trying to play the middle. So this is CNN's game. They went so far left and hard for Biden, who's clearly freaking shot.
We aren't able to absorb all the pressure given the reality of narrow retail margins. We're positioned to manage the cost pressure from tariffs as well or better than anyone. But even at the reduced levels, the higher
Walmart hates
tariffs will
Trump
result in
and
higher
conservatives.
prices.
So that's their little thing. What is this? We don't know. They're really trying to get you out to the Middle East, I'll tell you that now. Israel launches a major new offensive in Gaza as UN calls the situation for Palestinians beyond inhumane. But who put them there? Did Hamas put them there, or did the Israelis? Who put Germany in World War II, the people, into a shitstorm? Was it Hitler? Or was it the U.S.? No, it was Hitler, because the U.S. didn't want to get involved. We actually tried really hard not to. Sort of a U.S. tradition. We try not to get involved into major conflicts. And then it happens. Israel tried not to get into a major conflict since I've been a child. I remember being in a class with a teacher named Mr. Feltz. It's a name drop for people who went to Parish Hill High School. And he was my social studies teacher, and one of our assignments was we had to go and watch the news and come back with 3 of the top stories that we saw. And time after time, I remember reporting to the teacher about how buses in Tel Aviv were exploding from, at that point, the PLO and Yasser Arafat, who got a Nobel Peace Prize because he's such a peaceful man. This stuff has been going on forever. It's just pure anti-Semitism. That's all it is. Always has been. I have a theory as a Christian that people consciously or subconsciously hate the Jews because the Jews are the chosen people, and so if they don't believe in God or hate God, then they're going to hate the Jews by default, and that's been going on for since the Egyptians, so quite a while. I don't see video popping up. I got into my little tirade here. I don't want to get hit with a fair use crap. This is my first video YouTube, so please take it easy. Watch me get like demonetized before I even get monetized. That'd be funny. I'll be making a new channel. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here's a video. I don't want innocent Palestinians hurt. But the cold hard truth is the people that are in their country blowing up Israelis is why they're in this state. And I don't understand why these bleeding hearts can't see that maybe the people in Palestine and the Gaza Strip ought to stand up against their oppressive government and leadership and fight back. You know, I think it's something America can actually have some say in, since we did it to the British. People in America, when it was the 13 colonies, are actually British citizens who got tired of the kings who were tyrannical, and they said, fuck you, we're not dealing with it no more. So maybe the people in Palestine ought to say, fuck you, we're not dealing with it no more. I'm sure this little girl is a sweet little girl, and I'm happy that she is strong enough mentally to find happiness amongst this carnage, which is sad. But it's not Israel's fault. Israel has a right to defend itself and fight back, and these animal terrorists are hiding amongst children and hospitals. So they're basically telling Israel, it's just so evil, and the fact that people don't understand it. They're basically telling Israel, we're going to blow you up anywhere, anytime, anyhow. We're not going to give 2 shits who it kills. We're going to come in on hang gliders and blow up concerts and cut babies out of women's stomachs and leave them with their umbilical cord trails all over the street. And the UN's like cool with that, but if Israel has to fight these idiots who are militants hiding amongst women and children as human shields, then they're the devil. Makes no sense. To me, that would be two things wrong that they're doing. Not only is Hamas killing innocent Israelis, but then they hide amongst their own innocent. So more of them get killed. More innocent people get killed. I mean, it's crazy. It's freaking crazy. I can't wait till someone really pisses Trump off and they're gonna get all the living shit beat out of them. And it's gonna be swift because Trump's not into these prolonged, protracted wars. But yeah, I hope they have fun skating. Literally, I do. Good for them. But this is to humanize them against Israel's interest. It has nothing to do with like being happy for them to find happiness. It's about them just hating Israel and saying, look at what Israel's done. This is another hot topic. I don't necessarily have an opinion on it. I've heard about it from my liberal friends at work. I do have liberal friends, and they are real friends. Politics is not my religion, so I don't worship at the altar. Unlike the left, who don't believe in God. So, I mean, that's how religion works, right? If you put your faith into something, right, it's a religion. Well, Christian puts their faith in God, so they're not
color,
too worried about it.
Look like what anything, their size, their height, their eyes, I don't care. But I think that from all evidence, the farmers in South Africa are being treated brutally, and it's been reported, and nobody wants to cover it. But they happen to be white, and if they were black, I'd do the exact same thing. And we treat people very well when we see there's a genocide going on. So if it's a genocide, that's terrible, and I happen to believe it could very well be. So.
All right, so for me, the jury's out. I gotta research this genocide. We can do that together next week. I'm not gonna take CNN's word for it. I'm not gonna take Fox News' word for it. So, yeah. Well, I think we've covered a lot of the news. So, it's been a little bit more uneventful. I've noticed the news cycle's been slower since the election has ended. But I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about. The left really hate Trump and they're really looking to get him. So, sorry, my computer's still glitching out. Like, I can't even see myself moving into video. I don't even know if you could hear me that whole time. There we go. So anyway, so what's my take on it? I want to know who the person is who did the act of terror domestically, where they're from. They blew up a fertility clinic. So I have some background in the military, and I'm not going to get too deep into it today. But I understand these things, and it's going to be one of two things in my estimation. If it's a fertility clinic, it could just be happen chance that a jihadi type wacko blew it up as a international act of type terrorism, but more than likely I have a feeling it's a left person after collecting all the information. If it was a person on the right, though, like I said, they would be going after this, and they'd be going after this, and they'd be going after you. So we'll find out, and it'll stay a story if they believe it's from a right person. If it's from a left person, they're going to bury it. So the only way we're going to see it is on stations that are either neutral or conservative. And that's a whole nother topic that I want to talk about in my first episode. I don't believe that there's any news station out there, including Fox, that does not have a bias anymore. And I remember growing up when I'm sure there was always some bias, but it was never so publicly shared. The news anchors weren't literally saying like, I hate this president and I'm going to do everything I can to destroy him. They had too much class for that. They did it in more subtle ways. It was just different. So I don't trust any news organization, period, across the entire board. I've seen Fox, from my estimation, do completely unconservative things, and so they definitely don't have my buy-in. I used to, when I was younger and a little less wise. I used to call myself like I was a hardcore Republican. I could care less for the Republican Party, quite frankly. I can't wait to see Mitch McConnell just frickin' hit the road and disappear, and Nancy Pelosi and all these frickin' shills and pukes who have been running us into the ground on both sides. And I wouldn't be surprised if you found out that they were in cahoots the whole frickin' time. I think neocons are just liberals in sheep's clothing. I really do. I don't think that there's any difference. And I think that's why we saw the policies from Bush till Trump. Nothing was different. It didn't matter who was in office until Trump came along. So we'll see if what happens in the future. We're going to see with these tariffs. But in my estimation, most of the countries are coming to talk. And then when they talk, it's not that Trump's tariffs actually brought them to the table and reset negotiations. It's that Trump is weak, which makes no sense. I mean, it's just illogical. So I'm going to start wrapping things up, but I want to finish talking about this and just briefly bring up a side thing I do. I have a company called Slover Arms LLC where I am working into manufacturing of firearms. I have a federal firearms license to do so. I do not recommend you do it without one because it is a federal crime. And I'm not asking anyone to do a federal crime nor condoning it. But to this, I think we got interrupted. I was talking about the light, the O-light. I have an agency barrel in here. It's a match grade. I have extended controls around the pistol. So we've made sure it's safe and unloaded. And I'll lock it open. So over here we have extended slide release, extended magazine release, extended takedown controls. Some people don't like it because in the heat of the moment, if they're fumbling around with their gun, it could you could accidentally actuate those things. But if you got some practice and stuff, it could actually make it easier. Most people say that in a really intense moment, like where you would actually need something like this to save your life, you're not going to have fine motor skills. You're going to be going to gross movements. So it could work to your advantage or disadvantage to have those extended controls. It's all just theory until the shit hits the fan, but that's how I feel about that. I obviously like it on my pistol. And I'll talk real quick about what I think about carrying pistols briefly, or a weapon of, to protect yourself. I look at a pistol like a car seatbelt, right? Now, there's going to be like 99.9% of your life where you're going to drive around and you could have had your seatbelt off and you didn't need it. I think anyone who's been in a car understands what I'm talking about. But it's just that one day, that one time, that moron who's drunk, texting on their phone, God knows what, crying at the sky because Trump got elected, and they hit you head on. If you don't have the seatbelt on, you're as a high chance you're dead. It's not a given, but it's a very high chance, or you're really fucked up. Well, same thing goes true with this. Nobody wants to get into the car accident. Nobody likes wearing a seatbelt. It's uncomfortable. Carrying a pistol, if you ever do it, is actually kind of uncomfortable. It takes some time to kind of find your niche with the pistol and how you're going to do it. But that one day where someone's axing your door down, you're at the wrong light at the wrong time, and some frickin' fentanyl crackhead wants to come and jack you at your car. Who the hell knows? That one day, if you don't have that, you probably high chance being dead or really fucked up. So the argument, oh, people who carry guns are more dangerous. Well, are people who wear seatbelts more dangerous? Because under that logic, every time someone puts a seatbelt on, they're going to drive stupider because they have the seatbelt on to save them. That's not how it works. People who put seatbelts on are actually more conscientious, and they understand repercussions and consequences to not having the seatbelt and getting into car accidents. And they generally are trying to avoid it. It's the same with this. Okay? I purposely, when I have a weapon on me, do not go into any location where I think I'm going to have to use it. And if anything, I think much more carefully about where I am, because I know if the shit hits the fan, this is on me, and now I'm going to have limited choices once it starts rolling. There's this, if it gets down to the point where we're going to be throwing fisticuffs, what happens when they knock me out and I got this on me? I'm going to hope they don't blow my head off. That's not how it works. So that's some thoughts about pistols. And one other thing, if you are going to carry, obviously do your due diligence to train with it before you're running around with a pistol on you. But if you're going to run around with a pistol on you and you have already done said training, carry one in the chamber. If you're not, you're dead. And now you're pulling out a weapon that's useless. You might as well throw the thing at him. And I'm not even joking. They did tests with some of the fastest shooters in the world where they had a paper target pushed out, and it was within the range that the FBI say the average gunfight goes down where someone's using it in self-defense. They say it's within 7 feet or less, and it happens in 3 to 4 seconds or less. So they'd have that target set up, right? And they'd have a guy who's really good with guns, real fast, and he'd have his gun with no bullet in the chamber in his holster. And then they start running the paper target at him at the speed a human moves, and they want to see if he can get a shot on the paper. They couldn't do it. So guess what happens in real life when you don't have one in the chamber and somebody's coming at you with a knife, or they're going to knock you out, or a lead pipe, or whatever the hell they're going to do. Maybe they're a MMA fighter and they're just going to frickin' grapple you to death. It doesn't matter. You do not have time to get the pistol out of the holster and use it. So if you're going to carry one in the chamber, please. Otherwise, just use it to just take it, and you can hold paper down with it, and you can show your friends. You could kill a lot of birds with one stone. You could be holding paper down, and you could have it on your coffee table, and when people come, you can just talk about how cool it is. Because other than that, it's not going to defend your life. So it's clear. It's not loaded. So some thoughts about pistols. And anyway, thank you for joining me in my first episode of Press Check. I hope somebody found this interesting. I promise it's going to get a lot better, a lot funnier, and a lot more polished. But I think I owed it to myself and to my future viewers to start putting out some content and break the cherry. So till next time, which will probably be next Saturday, I'm aiming to air an episode every Saturday. So the next thing I'm going to do is it's going to go to post. I'm not going to edit it up. I'm just going to upload it and make a cool thumbnail, and off we go. So thanks for joining. I'll see you next week.